the girl who never slept. When I first moved into the old apartment building, the landlord warned me about the neighbors. He said they were different, but I shrugged it off as eccentric city folk. Rent was cheap, and I was desperate, and my neighbor across the hall was a quiet girl, maybe around 10 years old, with pale skin and deep sunken eyes. I never saw her with any adults, just her. She wore the same frayed nightgown every time I saw her. She didn't play, didn't smile, just stood in her doorway, watching me with an intensity that made my skin crawl. One night, around 3 a.m., I heard a soft knock on my door, groggy and annoyed. I stumbled to open it. There she was, standing barefoot in the dim hallway. "Can you keep it down?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. I was confused. "What do you mean?" I wasn't making any noise. Her lips twitched, almost forming a smile, but not quite. "Not you, them." Chills ran down my spine. I glanced into the hallway, expecting to see someone else, but it was empty. Before I could ask her what she meant, she turned and walked back into her apartment, the door closing softly behind her. The next day, I decided to ask the landlord about her. His face paled. "There hasn't been a child in that apartment for over 20 years, he muttered. "Not since the incident." He told me about a family who used to live there. The parents were found dead in their bedroom one morning, throat slit with no signs of forced entry. The little girl, she vanished without a trace. Some say she ran away. Others think she didn't. I laughed nervously, chalking it up to urban legend. But that night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about her hollow eyes and how real she looked. Around 3 a.m., the knocks came again. 3 slow, deliberate taps. This time, I didn't open the door. I just stood there, heart pounding, listening as the knocks until they stopped. Standing in the corner of my living room. Her nightgown was soaked in something dark, dripping onto the floor. "You should have kept it down," she whispered. I screamed and bolted for the door. Yanked it open, the hallway was gone. In its place was an endless void of darkness. I'm writing this now because I don't know how much time I have left. She's watching me from the shadows, her grin wider than it should be. If you ever see a quiet girl in a nightgown standing in a doorway, don't talk to her. Don't look at her. And for God's sake, don't let her in.
Don't be scared. I just want to play a game with you. Hey, don't you run away. Please stay. Stay with me.